if you didn't know, we have a podcast. I mean, we have a pulse and we're breathing, so of course we have a podcast. Everybody does.
Yeah.
But our podcast is called Deeply Curious, and you can check that out by going to deeplycurious.fm. But we have been recording our podcast with one single blue Yeti microphone sitting in between us on dual cardioid mode, and today we're partnering with B&H Photo to do a complete upgrade to our entire podcasting setup.
It's very exciting.
I know you want me to be your own, so kind of complicated love. Another face from another time.
I know one of the first things I want to get is one of these recorders, like one of the Zoom recorders, so that we can eliminate having to plug into a computer to record. Here's some podcasting microphones. So this is what we use right now, this blue Yeti. We have the all black version, but these are mostly all USB, which, like I said, I would rather upgrade to an XLR so we can plug directly into a Zoom. So we've got this entire microphone room with all these amazing recording microphones. Like almost every single podcaster is recorded with this Shure SM7B here, which I could get a couple of these, but I think I actually want to do something different than that to be a little bit more portable.
I need your touch. I need your love like I did before. I care too much, baby. I blame it all on the way you love, way you love.
All right, we have made it to the apartment. Oh, with these huge bags. We're ready for the unboxing. I'll open this one first because it's kind of the most boring one. Got 1 and 2 of these Rode Studio arms. So those just clamp to the table, the desk, whatever. Now onto the fun bag. This is like Santa's bag right here. Just over his shoulder.
Huge.
This is all I want. All right, first thing coming out. Headphones. We got 2 pairs of headphones. We got 1, 2, 3 XLR cables. And this one's exciting. 1, 2, 3 mic clips. Also, 1, 2, 3 microphone windscreens. All right, now we're getting into some good stuff. We got the Shure Beta 58As. Not only did we get 1, we got 2 because there's 2 of us. Not only did we get 2, we got 3 because sometimes we have guests. So like I mentioned, I could have got the Shure SM7B, which is basically what every podcast uses. H3H3 uses them, Joe Rogan podcast uses them, our friend Sarah Dietschy's podcast uses them, Rhett and Link use them. So they are great microphones. But I've heard podcasts recorded with these Shure Beta 58s. And honestly, they sound almost the exact same. And then the other huge thing is that these are $150 a piece. And those Shure SM7Bs that everybody uses, they're $400 a piece. Now obviously we partnered with B&H and they hooked us up with this stuff. And so with that, I could have asked for the SM7Bs, but I chose to go with the Beta 58s because it's just a better option for us.
Yeah, I think like just researching what it is you want out of your equipment is just super important. Like we wanted mobility, and just because the SM7Bs are more expensive or sound great doesn't mean they're like the best fit for what you're trying to do.
Okay, so now, what are we plugging these microphones into? Got the Zoom H6 portable recorder. So let's go ahead and unbox this and we can talk about.
I feel like this is the thing you're most excited about.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great piece of tech here. So in the case, you have the Zoom H6 4-channel recorder. So there are 4 XLR line ins here. And so we're able to plug all 3 of our microphones into here, and it's going to be multi-track recording into this recorder with their own levels.
Which is really great because I talk quieter than you do.
Right. So I can turn Sarah's mic up a little bit, Actually, I said it's a 4-channel because there's 4 XLR inputs, but it's actually a 6-channel recorder. But we are only going to be using 3 at most, really. It also comes with 2 of its own microphones. So this, additionally from being a recorder we can use for the podcast, we can also use this as a field recorder for whatever we want. What?
Sorry, this is what Adrian taped to himself.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But it's December now, and the year is dying. And I hate to break it to you, but you're dying too.
But another huge thing with going with the H6 is we can record directly into here, multi-track, no computer necessary. But if we wanted to use a computer to record, this can actually act as a USB interface in the same way that if we were to not buy the Zoom and buy, a Focusrite or a Behringer interface where you plug the XLR microphones into it and then it goes USB into the computer so you can record an audition, you can use the Zoom H6 for that. So it is way more expensive than just getting an audio interface, but this does both. I'm not losing out of the audio interface because I went with this. So that's really cool. Okay, everything is been revealed, but what I say we do now is we set all of this up real quick and do a quick 3-minute podcast for you guys.
Oh.
I had enough of your sad song. You think you know where I'm coming from.
Okay, everything is set up. We have the Zoom H6 with both of these Shure Beta 58s plugged into it. And now I'm recording. We're switching over to the podcast.
Hello and welcome to...
Hello and welcome to Deeply Curious. My name is Cody Jensen, and joining me in our New York City studio apartment is my wife, Sarah.
Hello.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about what gear should you get for your podcast, and does gear matter before you start your podcast? What do you think?
I don't know. This
Sarah,
is more your subject.
Well, I will say that we started this podcast, the first 26 episodes were recorded with one microphone, a $100 blue Yeti microphone set on dual cardioid with us sitting across from each other. And it sounded like this.
You write the song or you write the book, and when you're done, the next morning, you want to listen to it. You want to read the book because you love it so much,
Yeah.
even though you wrote
You
it.
should be your biggest fan.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds conceited, but that is true.
So ultimately, no, I would say that you can start your podcast with whatever gear you can afford.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about spending, I think all of this together was around $1,100 with the recorder, the microphones, and everything. Obviously, we got an additional microphone and all that, which would take it down a few hundred if we stuck with 2, but since we occasionally have a guest, we did that.
Yeah. I think sometimes, like, having good gear is nice, obviously.
Right.
But I think sometimes we just get a little overly concerned with what we need to start,
Yes.
when really all you need is just to start.
That is the truth. For the last 3 episodes, we recorded in our friend Sarah Dietschy's studio, and those were recorded with the Shure SM7Bs. So here's a clip of us talking on the Shure SM7Bs so you can directly compare to what we're recording with now.
To not be political is to be political. It's to say, like, well, I may not agree, but I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to let what happens. And if you don't change anything, then the status quo is going to continue.
Right. Your choice for an action
Right.
is actually a choice for what is happening.
Yes. Yeah.
So I am pre-edit, so I don't actually know what
it sounds like.
I don't know what this sounds like right now that I am talking to. This is the first time I've been hearing in these headphones, but I don't really know what this sounds like, and I also don't know what the difference was between the Shure SM7Bs and this, or even the Rode.
Yeah.
So
the Blue Yeti.
or the Blue Yeti, yeah. So I guess was there a huge difference between a $150 microphone and a $400 microphone?
Yeah.
Or with the $100, $50, well, let's call it a $50 microphone per person because the Blue Yeti is only $100.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and get comfortable.
which you can do because you have this amazing studio arm where you can move it wherever you want. I will say, as we were setting these up, which I'm sure you can see in the time lapse, we were struggling with these Rode arms because they are very springy. Very springy. I don't know if they need to be broken or if I looked through the instructions. I didn't see anything that like showed where you lock it, because the other boom arm that we have, which is why I only got 2 because we already have another one. I didn't need a third. But the other one we have, it has a locking screw, so I can put it wherever I want and I can kind of lock it. But
we haven't messed around with it enough yet.
Right. We've messed around with it
right
this
now.
long. You saw it all. But I will say a podcasting tip for this is going up. Okay.
Yeah.
Until I figure this stand out, I'm going to do this. I will give you a podcasting tip, though, for whatever microphone you have. If you know your gear, you can make anything sound good. So, like I said, we started with the Blue Yeti, and people with way more expensive microphones have talked to us about our podcast and being like, I have these $400 microphones, but your podcast sounds so much better than mine. Why is that? And it comes down to 2 things. The number one most important thing is proximity.
Yeah.
If you are sitting this far away from the microphone, it's not going to sound good. But if you get the microphone right up against your mouth or really close, that's whenever you're going to start hearing, basically that's when you're going to have good quality.
Right.
Is getting really close to the microphone because, it is what it is.
It eliminates all the other sounds except for your voice.
It doesn't matter if you have if you're recording with your iPhone.
Yeah.
Or if you're recording with a $600 pro level microphone, if you don't have the proximity, then it's not going to matter.
Yep.
All right, last quick tip before we go. No matter what microphone you're looking at, what I would suggest you looking for is some sort of supercardioid dynamic microphone, because in most recording environments that you will have for a podcast, if you're trying, especially, if you're on a budget, this is essentially what I'm suggesting, because a supercardioid dynamic microphone, it only is going to pick me up if I'm close to it and I'm talking directly into it, versus if I'm on the side, you can, there's a huge difference if I go from side to side, and versus a high level recording microphone, that's going to be a condenser microphone, which are amazing, and you actually don't have to be close to it like this one, but it also picks up everything in the room. So there's construction going on right now outside, and I don't think you can hear it in these microphones. But if I was using a $1,500 amazing recording microphone, it would actually be worse than what I'm using right now because I don't have a recording studio.
Yeah.
In a recording studio environment where it's completely soundproofed and has all this amazing sound treatment, then it would be useful.
Yeah. Get gear according to your needs.
Amen. So yeah, that is the end of this short, bite-sized 3-minute episode of Deeply Curious, I suppose.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to our podcast. If you want to listen to our real podcast, though, you can just go to deeplycurious.fm and listen to us talk about lots of different things. The most recent podcast we put out was on faith and politics, so, real controversial. I think it's a good one. It's an interesting conversation, so yeah, if you want to listen.
So you can find Deeply Curious in the links in the description.
Yes.
While you are in the description, links to all of this gear is linked down below on B&H. Yes. So if you want to look at exactly what this stuff is, see how much it is, all of that, everything is linked in the description. I also want to say a huge thank you to our sponsor.
Yes.
B&H Photo in New York City, but you don't have to be in New York City to shop B&H because they ship worldwide.
Woo!
And if you listen to our podcast, you'll be hearing more about B&H because B&H is now an official sponsor of our Deeply Curious podcast. So be sure to subscribe to Deeply Curious on whatever podcasting app you use. Listen to the most recent episode, like Sarah said, about faith and politics. I think it's a pretty good one. And then join us for the newest episode that will be recorded on this podcasting kit.
Ooh.
next Tuesday.
So exciting.
All right, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.